This is Iron Sheik? So, today we're going to be looking at the Wrestling Champions line, which is a very confusing line. So I won't be able to really cover all of it. I will be looking at some other versions in future videos, but for now, let's look at this figure. So, this is a figure in the Wrestling Champions line, or one of the Wrestling Champions line. And it's possibly Iron Sheik. I don't really know. There's another figure that looks more like Iron Sheik in this line. I'll show that on screen. But, yeah, so we're going to be looking at this figure and talking more about the other figures in this line. So, this is actually a variant of Baltard. If you don't know who that is a character from the Galaxy Warriors Toyline. And if you look at it, it doesn't look like Baltard, right? Suko's Galaxy Fighters knocked off Sun Gold's Galaxy Warriors. Here is the Galaxy Fighters Baltard. But then there was the Galaxy Fighters Batoon, which is clearly another version of Baltard. Then that Batoon has been knocked off a few times and turned into this. So this is basically a variant of Baltard. If you look at his face here, it's basically Batoon, but with a mustache, an eye patch, and an interesting hairstyle. This figure has no markings other than China on the back there. And, it really has no accessories. It came with this belt, which it looks like it's some sort of cat or something. I think we find this belt, or maybe another belt, on every figure in this line. Maybe not, I can't remember. There are actually also eagle belts. But, yeah. So, I'm pretty sure there are other variants of this figure with different color schemes. I'll probably put a few on screen here. So, it's not always the same coloring in this line. This is a very big line. If we look at this card here and turn it over, there are a lot of figures in this line. A lot of figures. So, right here, they are not named. He is number 10 here. There are 12 figures just on this card back, but there are other versions. There are other card backs. There are other cards. It is crazy. Here's the more likely to be Iron Sheik here at number 3. But then up here, there's another extra, 6. It's weird. So I will show on screen some of the other figures in this line. I know there's a Hulk Hogan. There's a Big John Studd, Andre the Giant, I think the Destroyer. I'm not a wrestling fan. Sorry if I get any of these names wrong. And there's a bunch of other unnamed characters. I think there's one that's a weird mix of Hulk Hogan and He-Man. Don't really know what that one is, but actually, he does get a name later in this video, so we will be looking at that. But before we dig deeper into the rest of this line, let's compare, get that out of the way, let's compare this Iron Sheik to the LJN Wrestling Superstars Iron Sheik. Obviously, their, clothing is going to be different. But if we just look at the face, so we've got his face here. It's interesting. Obviously, Iron Sheik does not have a little spot of hair or an eye patch. But, the mustache is actually pretty similar. So, what other versions of the Wrestling Champions are there? Well, there's another version where instead of these, squatting legs, there's actually long legs, which is a really interesting version. I think there is a Nobe, who is another character, actually, from the Galaxy Fighters Toyline, that was used for this line. But that is just straight up the same head mold. There's probably still an Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan, probably some others. I'll be showing them on screen. And I do think there was another Iron Sheik or Batoon. And then there was another line. And this line, actually, I'll show the card back on screen first, has their names. There is Black Cyclone, I think, Lemur. I can't remember anybody else's name, so I'll probably pause the video here. There were 4 characters I forgot. The Grey Wolf, Tinja, Macintosh, and Killer Joe. So there's another Iron Sheik. So there are actually named figures in this line. So the Wrestling Champions line is pretty weird. There are a bunch of different versions. There's another version I didn't even talk about in this video yet. And there's another line called Wrestling Champions. It's wild. But that was Iron Sheik, and that was the Wrestling Champions line. Now, let's go over pricing. So, I got this figure. It was carded, but there was a little crack here so I could pop him out. For about $25, I think. May have been $30. You can find these really great deal, like $25 to $35 carded. That is a pretty good deal, though. A lot of times they do come up for more. And then the actual figure. Without the belt, I've seen it around $20 is a pretty fair price, I think. But with the belt, you don't really find them with the belt that often. I'm just going to cut myself off here. You can find them with the belt for about $20, $25 is a pretty fair price. But there are people who, of course, do list it much, much higher. Probably about $25 plus with the belt as well. But, yeah. This is another Baltard to add to the Baltard collection. Thanks for watching this video where I go over the Wrestling Champions toy line and some of its versions. And this very, very weird Iron Sheik figure. Goodbye.